I'm going to teach you how to make a weaving on a paper plate. The first step is going to be to paint your plate. So we're not going to do any weaving to start with. And I've got our little ice cube tray filled with our primary colors and white, and a palette, and a brush, and a cup of water, and a placemat. So to start with, when you are using the tempera paint from this ice cube tray, what I want to make sure you do is know that you are just scooping the paint from the tray into your palette or painting directly on here, but you're not mixing the colors in this tray. This needs to be put back in the painting studio for other students to be able to use. So if I wanted to just start with a magenta circle in the middle of my plate, I don't have to put it in my palette. I can just paint directly onto my plate. And I'm going to paint concentric circles. That means circles that start small and get bigger as they go out. You don't need to do circles. You could paint your plate in whatever pattern you would like, but I kind of like how having circles painted on the plate is going to mirror the circles that are going to happen when I weave around and around and around. So that's why I want kind of that repetition. Now I know that I'm going to want to use magenta for a bigger circle, so instead of cleaning out my brush, whoops, did you see that? I almost put the magenta in the white. So glad that didn't happen. I'm going to just keep using this and come out and do a bigger circle here while I still have magenta on my brush. So I'm skipping that cleaning step since I know I will want magenta later. Then I'm going to ask my loom, this plate is going to become our weaving loom, ask my loom what color I'd like to have right around the magenta in the center. And I'm thinking yellow. So I definitely need to rinse my brush out now. Rinse it really well, wipe it on the side. And you might want to get a paper towel to blot your brush on, or you can wipe it right onto your placemat to kind of clean it up more. So I'm going to get some yellow. I'm not making a secondary color, so I can just keep using this brush. Oh, you can't even see that. Although I am going to make a secondary color as I go close to the magenta. And I like the way that looks. Magenta and yellow make orange. Okay, I would like to do a green here, like a lime green. So, how do I make green? Yes, blue and yellow. And I know that my cyan or my turquoise blue makes a much brighter yellow than the darker blue. So I'm going to scoop some yellow into my mixing tray. And if I wanted to get a second brush, so I didn't have to rinse so much, I could do that. But please don't take a brush for every single color. That will be too many brushes. So now I'm going to come in. Can you see the difference between these blues? This is the turquoise blue, and that almost looks black. That is the dark blue. I want to use this turquoise blue as the cyan because I know it's going to make like a lime green. And that's the green I would like. So mix that in with the yellow. And now I'm ready to paint that on my plate. And I'm just going to keep painting until my whole plate is filled with the colors that I would like. base layer is dry, I could go in with whatever color I would like and add some patterning of little lines or shapes to add some details. So I'm going to come in with some white and just do some little lines. Now that the plate is dry, we can turn it into our loom. So you're going to find one of these loom tracers in the weaving studio and lay it right on top of your plate. Take a pencil and you're going to push really hard in the middle so it doesn't slide, and you're going to draw a little line inside each of these notches. You are making 19 lines. Lift off my loom tracer, and now I want to count and make sure I actually have 19. So I'm going to start here with this one. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Perfect. So now I'm going to get a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut every line right to the rim of this plate right before it starts going down. I'll take my scissors and cut right to there. So the knot should be about that size. So here I go, cutting all of my lines. Okay. Now, in the weaving studio, you're going to see different colors of yarn. You're going to pick one color that you're going to use for your warp string. That's the string that will hold your weaving in place. So I am looking at my colors. I think I would like to have a gray for my warp string. So I'm going to take the gray, and the first step is to take the tail and put it through one of the notches, and I'm going to tape it. Also, at this point, I'm going to write my name on the back of my loom. Okay, so now I'm going to pull my yarn straight down. I don't have an even number of notches. So what I want to make sure is that I have 9 notches, open notches on the right-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to stick my yarn into here. I should have 8 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So now I'm going to warp up my loom. I need to get this ready to weave on. So the way to do this, I have the yarn go through the notch. It is going to go into the next notch over. So think about going to the right. Think about this, each of these little notches as a house. Okay, so this is a neighborhood. This yarn, we're going to call the yarn Bob. Bob's in his house. He wants to go to his next door neighbor. But when he gets there, he discovers that his next door neighbor has a dog, and he's allergic to dogs. So he quickly has to run across the street to the house directly across the street. It has to be the first notch closest to the yarn. It can't be here. It needs to be this one right here. So once he's safely in the house across the street, you're going to turn your loom like a steering wheel and drive it like this. So now here's Bob. Bob's in this neighbor's house. Oh no, this neighbor also has a dog. So Bob quickly has to run next door to this neighbor's house. Guess what? Yep, that neighbor has a dog too. Quick, run across the street to the house directly across the street. Put that in there, hold your loom, drive around. Poor Bob's in a house, another house with a dog. So he's going to go next door to this house. And notice if you look at the back, it's just going on the back side of this rim. It's not going all the way across the plate. Into that notch. He's going to run directly across the street to there? Nope. Into this house. Steer your loom around. Poor Bob. Everybody has dogs. Going next door into this notch. Directly across the street. Drive the plate around. Into this house. Run across the street. Turn the loom around. Into this notch. Run across the street, turn the loom, into this notch, run across the street, turn the loom, into this notch, and now we get to start weaving. Well, it would be too hard for me to weave with this big ball of yarn. That doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do is pull the yarn across the plate so I have this length of yarn, and then I'm going to trim it. And now I'm going to actually start weaving with this. So if you remember with the paper weaving, or if you've done a rectangular yarn weaving before, it's over, under, over, under. So I'm going to start going under. And the weaving is going to come into the center of the plate. And I'm just going to be going under, over, under, over, under, over. And right now I'm keeping my weaving out here so I can see it better, but eventually I'm going to push it into the center. I've gone under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, just continuing that pattern. I kind of wish that I had pulled this through more, because I'm getting to the end of this yarn, but there's all of this length here. It's not pulled very tight, so I'm going to work on pulling that tight right now, and then I can pull this in a little bit closer, and now I have more I can weave with. Let's see, if you get confused about what you did last, you can stretch it out a little bit. Just went under. Now I'm going over, under, over, under, over, and you keep going around and around and around with that pattern. Eventually, I'm going to run out of gray, and I get to decide which color I want to switch to. I kind of like how this is not exactly in the center of my plate. It's a bit asymmetrical, which I think looks really cool. Let's see, did I do that right? Over. I did something wrong. Oh, did you see that? I went over 2. That's why that looked funny. Over, under, over, under, over, under. If something looks off, go back and look, get curious. Say, why does that look weird? Over, under. When I have about a finger's length of yarn left, I'm going to switch to a different color. So, all right, so I have this much left. I'm now going to cut a length of yarn for my next color, maybe about my plate's length. Depends on how much I want that next color to go. The more length you have, the thicker the band of that color. So I have my green. I'm now going to lay these 2 colors side by side, and I need to tie them together in a knot. So what I'm going to do is loop it around my finger. They're going together around my finger, making an X that I'm going to pinch with my thumb, and I'm going to peel off the loop. So it kind of looks like a little head with spiky hair. You are going to take the spiky hair, go to the back, and put it in through the hole and pull it out. And now I'm going to pull these ends in one direction, and I'm going to pull the tails in the other direction really tight, and it will make a knot. And now you can give it a haircut, but don't give it a close shave. You don't want the knot to come undone, so I'm going to just snip just like that. All right, now I can keep weaving. I'm just going to continue going. I ended going over, so I'm going to start going under. For my next color. Keep weaving as far out as I want, but I think I'm actually going to stop right here because I don't want to hide all of my pattern and colors on the plate. So what I'm going to do is tie off this last weft. That's what the yarn that we're weaving with is called the weft. And to do that, I'm going to come around this warp. I'm going to make a loop, just like we did when we were tying the colors together. And here's the spiky hair is going to go towards the back, go through the hole, pull it, and I'm making a knot right along that string. I could give it a close shave, or I can trim it just a little bit like this, and this could then be, you could use a weaving needle and you could kind of tuck it up underneath, or your fingers, just to hide it underneath your weaving. Now if you wanted to be able to hang this, you could make a decorative hanger, you can do that, because this kind of weaving isn't necessarily made, it's not made to be taken off your loom because you painted your loom to be decorative. So what you would do to make a hanger is to pull off a length of yarn, decide how it's going to hang. I think I like it like this. So now what I'm going to do, and I could have done it the gray so it matched my warp color, but I've already cut off yellow. I'm going to tie a knot on the back, making an X. This goes towards the back through the loop. Make a double knot. I want to leave an open notch here. And I'm going to come into these two notches. And tie a double knot here. And now I have a little hanging loop that my weaving can hang from.